Hey y'all, so I have a little bit of planning that I needed to get done this morning. I was out for a meeting yesterday morning and I only came in for the last little bit of the day, and we had a lot of activities going on. We had kids in the kitchen, which is really nice because they come in and they talk about nutritional foods and they kind of give the kids, they get to make a parfait, and it's for 4th grade only. So the 4th graders got to do that yesterday. They also had to do their SRIs yesterday, and then what was it, 5th grade had junior achievement. So let me kind of give you guys a little background on junior achievement. Or do you even want to know that? So we had kind of lots of little things that were going on that just made for a very, very odd feeling kind of day. So I need to figure out what is it that I'm going to do today. I have also started my grad school, and that means that I don't get to plan very much at home because now I am consistently like having to do some reading and some work at home. And I did not realize how out of touch I am with, I like to learn, but out of touch with school and that's kind of weird because I'm a teacher. I should be able to do this, but I have to kind of get myself into the rhythm. Last night I was telling my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I am really, really struggling. And it's just being able to, I don't know, it was just really hard for me last night. Like the readings were very difficult, and then what I was trying to wrap my brain around and truly like sit there and think through, you don't have anybody to kind of talk it out because it is all online. So I don't have anyone to sit there and kind of brainstorm and like have discussions with it. And I'm like telling my husband, do you mind just sitting there so that I can read these passages and then just talk to you about it? Because I really need somebody to talk things out with. So probably doing an online course for me all the way through, an online degree, it's probably like gonna be really, really, really hard and maybe not the best choice for me. But it is what it is. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna push myself through it. It's gonna be fine. So I have to do some planning this morning because I have no idea what I'm doing as of right now. So I figured what I would do is I'm going to flip you guys around so that you can see what is it that I'm planning. And I am using my 2018-2019 teacher planner, and then I'm also using the digital life planner. So both of them are digital and I'm using them on my iPad. Once again, like I feel like I am just so lucky to have such amazing viewers, and you guys are so wonderful because you're going out and purchasing these digital planners, and I am so grateful for you, because it helps me to continue doing what I'm doing, and I'm just very grateful. Thank you so much for all the beautiful and wonderful feedback on the digital planners, and I truly hope that you are loving them, especially now as I feel like we're truly becoming more and more digital. Like, it is what it is. We have to kind of head that way, and for some of us it is very hard, but I think like with the new pens, or if you're using a stylus or something like that, it just makes for a really great planner, and it makes for easy carrying too. You're not hurting your back. No more teacher like hunched over with 50 million bags. No more. We're getting rid of that by doing everything digital, y'all. We're gonna all have straight backs. We're not gonna be hunchbacks. It's so funny to be able to watch teachers as they're walking out with all their bags and all their stuff filled up with bags. So anyways, let me flip you guys around and let's try to get some planning done for this morning so I know what it is that I'm doing. Hey, can you guys see me on my little reflection? All right, so I'm gonna hope that this works, and I need to flip mine around. I'm using a tripod that's probably not the best for this, so I don't know. I'm gonna wing it and we're gonna try it out and see how it goes. Okay, so I told you guys that I need to go through, and I'm just gonna, there we go, and plan out. Woo, some discoloring here. I think that's pretty good. What do you guys think? I'm not sure. I feel like I'm not doing a very good job here. I'm gonna look into my digital life planner first to kind of figure out exactly what I have going on. There's a lot of things going on. So today's the 16th. From 9:30 to 10:45, we have the Burn Center for 5th grade. I think that's how you spell it. I think maybe it has an E in it. We actually did the 4th grade SRI on yesterday, and then we have severe weather at 9:15. So let's go to my teacher planner and let's figure out what is it that I'm doing. You can see I had some things planned for Monday, which we did, and then yesterday was Tuesday, and I was out in the morning, so I was out for these kind of 4 rotations right here. So I'm gonna go into my app, and I already started kind of making it and I was like, maybe I should go ahead and like record this. So I'm just gonna copy this here, share, copy, and then I'm gonna go back into it and I'm just gonna paste it in. So I'm gonna paste it and I'm gonna turn this around. I can go a little bit bigger, right? Okay, so I was out for CIA, so I had sub plans there, and then down here, this right here, this piece was not the adaptations. I decided to not do the adaptations, and I went on ahead and I did, what did I do? I feel like I did something. Let's see, let me make this smaller so you guys can see that. I did, ooh, that's really fat. I don't like it that way. Okay. We did a volcano effects reading, and actually I did this with both groups. So I'm going to do my shapes. Kids in the Kitchen for 4th grade, and then 5th grade had JA. And then 4th grade then did their SRI. So it was pretty much filled with that. But then I was able to work on, for my reading group, we did summarizing review, and then I also was able to do the topic sentence. And then they were to go out and find their 3 facts yesterday. So have ready. Oops. Oh, I hate it when I do that. And let's just move this over just a little bit. Okay. Have ready for group. Tomorrow. Okay, so what they're going to do today is we're going to go over summary. We're going to do a shared write. And then they're going to have another, this is on the volcano, Kilauea. I think I'm saying that correctly. I hope I am. A-U-E-A. So we're going to do Kilauea volcano. They're going to do another article. And I get these from News ELA. And then they're going to write summaries. I'll probably just let them do it with a partner. If they would like to do it with a partner, it's up to them. And then I'm just probably going to do this as with both of my groups. So for my PBL writing group, they are, what is it? I have 4th grade is going to do their JA today. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with 5th and 6th grade, which they can probably finish their text structures. We were doing some different text structure strategies with, there I go. I'm doing it again, y'all. Look at that. Oh, I hate it when I do that and I just kind of keep going. They're going to do their text structures. We can probably get them to do that today. And then 4th grade reading, summarizing reading practice. I'm going to be finishing up. Finish summary. We're really focusing hard on summaries right now. Summary. And give new article. Okay. So this morning, 5th grade is going to be out, and we're going to have only 4th and 6th. So that's not going to help any of this. So let's try, I'm going to show you. I'm using the app Over to create kind of some headers. I like it. I think it's so nice and easy to be able to do it. So I'm just going to put in, and you can upload any kind of fonts and items in here as well, so which is really nice, but you do have to have the Pro, which is kind of a bummer. So what was I going to do? So 5th grade, I think it's spelled B-U-R-N-E-S, Burns. I'm pretty sure that's how you spell it. To be honest, I'm not really sure. I say I'm sure, and I'm not sure, y'all. I'm not sure. To make it bigger, I like to add a shadow behind it because I think it looks nice. And then I always usually put the color with the shadow. Ooh, that yellow's kind of nice. Yeah, I like the yellow. Let's do that. I'm gonna share it, then I'm gonna copy it and go back to this. Paste that here, and we'll make it smaller. Turn it around, and here's this. So we really have to figure out, and I'm gonna figure this out with KT in a little bit, on what we're gonna do with our 4th and our 6th graders. We just said that we would kind of brainstorm this morning, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Just makes for a really crazy and weird morning, but at least I have an idea of how my afternoon is gonna go, which is nice. So I don't think I have anything that I need to like really make sure and focus on that I get done. Let's go to this week's. I need to finish up my SRIs, and I can kind of place all these little pieces in there too. Let's see. We have, oops, I like to use the shapes for my little, I'm not really sure what I was writing there, y'all. 5th grade. Burns. And then we have 4th grade JA. And I think that's it. So what I need to finish, because I think Friday is supposed to be our track meet, which we go out and we have, like, you know, the kids do relays, and they have, you know, it's kind of like a field day, I almost feel like, but the track meet's pretty cool. But Friday's supposed to be our track meet. Well, Friday looks like it's going to be pouring down raining, so we're not gonna have, we most likely will not have our track meet on Friday, so it will have to get postponed till next week. But if that ends up happening, we want to do our DRA comprehension tests here, so I need to finish up my DRAs today, which I might try to get done this morning. We can give those kiddos some work to do that they can work on, and then I need to finish DRAs. He didn't open that for us yet. I need to finish this for my, look at that, I didn't get anything done yesterday. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my dear goodness. I didn't do it, although I am doing that today. I did bring money so I can pay her back, so I'm gonna go ahead and just, I didn't do anything yesterday, y'all. That was really, really bad of me. I did end up going to, Ian had his middle school. He got to go to the middle school to kind of do a little scavenger and just kind of check it out. So we ended up doing that. So I did get that done. I haven't been very productive, which is kind of sad. So I need to finish my DRAs. I need to upload my discussion for my school, for my graduate class. I need to enter my slow data, and then I will pay Jamie back in just a little bit. So anyways, this is kind of my day. This is what it looks like. Nothing super special, but I really, 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 really have been enjoying this. Wednesday morning meeting, I don't really have anything just yet. I'll probably come up with something and figure out what is exactly that we're doing. They really like to play that what is it called? It's like a it's like a hockey ball. I can't remember what they called it. They love that game. They have like a beach ball and they try to throw the beach ball within each other. It's really fun. So hockey ball is probably what we'll do today, and then we'll do high fives for our gradings this morning. Then we'll have words of wisdom today. And then I just kind of create my little lines here. I just pick a color, I go a little bit bigger with it, and then I do my shape and draw my line. Boom, there's my shape. Sweet. Okay, so that's kind of what my day looks like today. Happy hump day. And then I need to just kind of get my things together, I think, at this point. All right. So this morning I have a meeting at 8 o'clock. I guess it's not really technically a meeting, but my principal is making himself available at 8 o'clock so that those who have PVOS questions, which for some reason our PVOS kind of got a little screwed up. So we have to go this morning at 8 o'clock to be able to get together with all the other like interventionists to be able to fix it, because it's not the way it needs to be. And I think that's due pretty soon as well. And PVOS, what it is, I didn't have it in Alabama, but I have it here. So what PVOS is it really looks at how much time that you spend with each child instructionally. So how much instruction did you give your kids in ELA, in math, and then they kind of divide it out. It all goes towards your number at the end of the school year. But that's kind of what we have to get done. So we have to figure out the rest of our PVOS, because their intervention is saying that they have kids on their list that should not be on their list, which is no bueno. So I'm gonna go ahead to my meeting this morning at 8 o'clock and then get started with our day pretty soon. It's a very rainy day. You think that'll mellow the kids out a little bit? Kids are gone. It is now the end of the day. I don't know why I'm so excited and I'm pumping. I have no idea. The kids are gone. It is the end of the day and I am getting ready to do a little session with my partner KT. So if you have watched the last vlog that I put up, or video that I put up, then you know that I have launched a podcast, and it is of classroom planning and the word vomit that comes out of myself and my partner KT's mouth when we're trying to plan out, you know, our classroom and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, or on projects, or just in general for classroom needs. So we are going to do another little word vomit session in just a moment. I think we need to finish planning out this big project. So what we've decided to do is a huge project that revolves around the wild robot. The kids really enjoyed the wild robot, and I think it's a great book to be able to incorporate a lot of different standards. So we have a lot of integration that's happening inside of it, with reading and with writing and with math and with science. And so we are going to sit down and kind of hash out all the details for that. We are also going to have another one coming up pretty soon, where we are going to hash out what we want to kind of take with us next year. For instance, you know, math journals or reading journals, or your writer's notebooks and their folders, and data binders, and how are we going to really incorporate that next year and what we want it to really look like. So we're going to be spending a day doing that as well. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that done today, but that is a kind of an idea and a thought that's going to be coming out pretty soon as well. So keep in touch. I am very excited because the podcasts are now available on iTunes and I believe Spotify and a few other platforms, which I am very, very happy about. So I'm gonna leave some links to some different platforms that you guys can go and check out our podcasts. If you are enjoying it and you really like it, please let us know. Leave us a review, a comment down in those different platforms. This is still something that's kind of new for us. We are not like 100% sure if we're gonna continue doing it. We're just really giving it a shot. To be honest, there's some costs in this that I just did not anticipate. So let us know if you are enjoying this. Definitely leave a review, you know, share it out to other people that you think might be interested in the podcast, but I would really like to know your feedback. So I'm very excited that I'm like on iTunes, y'all. How crazy is that? I feel super special and Probably not that special. Anyways, so we are about to get ready to do that. I have been kind of cleaning up my area. Today was pretty kind of a leisure day because we did again have such a weird day. I was able to get all the things done that I had done on my list for today, so that's kind of nice. I'm gonna go through and check those off a little bit later on, so I'll show you that and get a better idea of what I need to be doing tomorrow, because we are doing more robot stuff, which I will show you guys a little bit later. I just need to get all my ideas out on paper first, and then I also have my discussion board is due for my class, so I need to get that together as well. I have been working on that. I think I worked on it a little bit over lunch, but then I wasn't able to do much more with that, so I need to get my discussion up on to my graduate course so that I can do some replies on that, because it is due by midnight tonight, so I got to get on that. I think he's like ignoring me. All right, I'm making dinner. I figured I would kind of show you guys. So I always kind of make like crock pot meals, like typically with meats and stuff, and then I put them in little baggies and then save them. So on nights like this, when I get home a little bit later, all I have to do is take it out, fry it up, and I can make some easy tacos to go. So we have a pork that I made a while back for my husband's birthday that I had frozen, so I'm just cooking that up. And then we also have some beans. Very easy tacos to go. We're all done. So, making this. I'm gonna end up showing you guys what I did for my grad class and what it is that, like our discussion, and talk you through some things that I did on my iPad. Figured I'd do that. How fun. All right, I'm hanging up. Okay, so I finally was able to get done with my discussion board. So we had 4 different articles that we had to read this week for it's an educational psychology course that I'm taking for my graduate degree. And so they were really good articles, but I think I mentioned earlier that they seemed, there were a couple of them that were a pretty hard read, especially for me being so out of practice with like professional articles. I don't read those for fun, let's just be honest. I am more of a children's literature type girl. But they were very intriguing, and they were insightful, and I felt as though I was able to really make some connections to what is it that I'm doing within my own classroom setting. And so I was able to really reflect on what it was that I was reading, and then also kind of see, you know, what is it that I am doing that are some of those really great and best practices that are mentioned, and some of those theories that were mentioned inside of the text that I was reading, but then where can I eventually go to be able to grow as an educator and also grow my learners at the exact same time. So the activity that she ended up having us do, and I think I'm the only person because I haven't seen anybody else on the discussion board do this. She allowed us to either do a visual, or we could just do like the typing in the discussion board. Me being who I am, of course I'm like visual all the way. I love me a visual, so I decided to do a web. I'm the only person, y'all, that is doing one of these, and you know, you almost like feel like, oh my gosh, was I not supposed to do this? Now I'm starting to kind of second guess myself, because I am the only person that did it. But I'm gonna take those risks. I'm gonna fail forward if I have to fail forward, and it's just gonna have to be okay. So I ended up doing a little mind web of my thinking. What was really nice about when we were reading through the article, she kind of gave us an idea of what she wanted us to be thinking of as we were going through. So she gave it to us on a 3-2-1. I know that a lot of you have probably used this in your classrooms, but you know, 3 things that you found interesting, to you know, 2 things that you first, you know, you learned about, or you know, one question that you ended up having. But for her, it was just kind of a little bit different. She had 3 big ideas that we ended up taking away from the article. And then we had 2 intriguing quotes, and then 1 concern or criticism that we had based on the 4 articles that we read. So I ended up doing it like this. I feel feel really shy and embarrassed showing you guys this. So I'm like jumping out of my comfort zone here. Okay. So this is what I ended up deciding to do. Basically what I did was I just put down here kind of who are we as learners, which was kind of the big idea, the big header of what we were looking at. So then you had the 3 ideas that I took from my readings. So the first one was the value and importance of mastery goals, and I kind of added my little bit of thinking down here, and then I also added my connection that I have to the classroom up here as well. Then I had the second piece, which is the importance of taking risks as a learner. I thought that this was a really huge piece of information that I took away from it. But once again, I have kind of my thinking and then my connections here. And then my third big idea that I took away is the importance and benefits of cooperative learning. We are using some cooperative learning. Upstairs, Daddy wants you. But we have cooperative learning with our CPM. So if you have college preparatory math, which is kind of like a math program for 6th through I think 9th grade, is it? But they use a lot of cooperative learning, basically where the kids are working in small groups. They're on kind of a same task and they work together, and you know, those who finally get it are helping the other ones really be able to understand it, and that truly is cooperative learning, which I thought was really interesting. So then I had the 2 intriguing quotes. One of them was the authority style of parenting characterizes parents who set firm yet fair standards, utilize non-threatening modes of discipline, value their children's opinions, and strike a balance among warmth, demandingness, and responsiveness. Then I also had there's a 2-way relationship between theory and practice. Practice is guided by validated theory. Operationalizing the theory into practical situations can reveal inadequacies in the theory that lead to its modification and refinement, which requires new research studies to validate the changes. I really like that because it just kind of emphasizes that nothing is truly perfect. You know, not everything is going to work the exact way that it needs to work, and that it is ever changing. So I thought, again, that was just a really nice quote. And then I had like my one concern and criticism, which was on the controlling versus autonomy motivating style of teaching. So this article by Reeve kind of discusses the controlling piece of it, and that teachers kind of assume a very controlling style, whereas autonomy kind of really enhances and truly like looks at the learner and allows learners to be able to engage in a more motivational style. So I did this because I thought that it helped me process it, and I thought it was just a really great visual for me. However, I just feel a little awkward because I'm the only person who ended up using a visual as their learning choice here. So it is what it is at this point. I also went on ahead and did my 2 comments, so I am done with that. I'll probably go back through and read it one more time and see if I can have anything else that I can comment on, but for the most part I am done. And my little boy is like getting ready for bed right now, so you're gonna hear talking. But I went on ahead and printed out my next set of readings, which I'm really excited because I'm almost certain that this is like a video disposition basically, which will be really interesting because I am pretty used to talking to the camera, so we'll see how I end up doing on that. But I ended up printing off my other pages as far as the reading goes for this next week, and I'm gonna place it inside of my little notebook. So I just have a small little ARC notebook that keeps all of my readings. It allows me to be able to take notes on my iPad, and then I can highlight all of the different things and make notes of anything that I want to make notes of inside of my own little book here. So it just keeps me organized, I guess. I am gonna head up to bed, and I'm going to finish up, help him put the kids to bed, and then I'm going to go ahead and probably look over my CPM notes for tomorrow. So I will catch you guys in the morning when I'm hopefully looking a little bit more fresh. Today's going to be a really exciting day because we are continuing to go with our big project that we're working on. If you guys have been listening into the podcast, then you already know a little bit about the project that we're doing, but I think it's really important, and I'm gonna just kind of backtrack just a little bit real fast, but I think it's super important that at the end of the year, teachers continue to teach to the very last day. You only get so much time with them, and you want to get as much in with them as possible, and whether you do that with like a culminating project or some really fun and interesting activities that you think are going to engage your kids, but also integrate a lot of the different skills and teachings that you've done throughout the year, I think that's like a really valuable way of doing it, and the kids really appreciate it when you make it a little bit interesting and fun. So we are down to, my kids informed me yesterday it was 2 weeks and 3 days. Now it is 2 weeks and 1 day. So we have 2 weeks and 1 day left of school, and we are kicking off a project. We've only had 1 day with this project, but it is a very exciting project, and the kids haven't really seen the connection between the 3 different like rotations that we've been taking them through. So without further ado, the project that we are working on has to deal with the Wild Robot. And I started reading the Wild Robot on Mr. G's recommendation, and he said it was a really, really great book to read. So we started reading it a few months ago, and in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I thought the book was not very interesting because it was all just descriptions of what was going on, and I'm like, where is the story behind this? So it took me a few pages to actually get into it, and same for the kids. But once we got into it and we started to kind of learn about Roz the character, we really fell in love with her, and so I think we had finished the first book within like, obviously it was a few weeks or whatever, but we finished the book probably within like 2 days of the second book launching, The Wild Robot Escapes. And so I remember that we were talking about just like plot and just kind of the formats of plot and how did, you know, the first book fit in with it. And I went out and during my lunch break, the day that The Wild Robot Escapes came out, I went out and I purchased it, and I was like, guys, we have to read this. I can't leave this book the way it is. So we all read it, and it's been, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks now that we finished the second book. But the kids love Roz. They loved the storyline of it. They thought it was a fantastic read, and I absolutely loved it as well. So the project revolves around Roz. And one of my partners had the idea of incorporating biomes, which is kind of that life science standards. We're focusing a lot on life science this year, but talking about biomes, talking about adaptations, and then also kind of putting in a little bit of math in there with Roz. We said, this is a fantastic idea, let's run with it. So each of us took like a very specific area. So KW has biomes that she's working on. So the kids are researching their biomes, and they're drawing like a big illustration of their biome, and they're going to be doing a description writing with it. Then we have KT, who is working on adaptation. So she started off with Darwin's finches and the moths and how they adapt. I think she said it was in England, where they had a lot of the birch trees, and they had a lot of the white stone on the buildings that they were almost white and they blended in. So the kids are going to be doing like a little moth project, and then they're also going to be learning a little bit more with adaptations, working on box and bullets and summarizing with informational text. And then I took the geometry piece of it, which is we started with 2D shapes, and I really loved this activity. So we had a day where we did 3 rotations, and it was last week when we started trying to do all of our running records for DRAs, because we have to get that done. It's the end of the year. So we had these rotations where we took the kids through, and we were starting our project. And so I gave my kids 2D shapes, and I said, I would like for you to, you know, with like these two, like I seriously just went and printed them out. Some like with these little 2D shapes, see them? They had to be able to categorize it. And so I kind of start like probably all of my lessons with a story. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna tell you a story about this family. This is the family that's called the Fernandez family. I don't know why I wanted to make them Hispanic, but I made them Hispanic, so I'm really sorry. I was just thinking about my family, and I'm like, I'm not gonna tell them what my family's name is, but I'm just gonna make another name up that's not in my family. So I came up with Fernandez. I don't know. Oh well. Anyways, So I said, this is the Fernandez family, and I wrote Fernandez up at the very top. And then I started kind of talking to them, introducing them to like the family members. And this is like, I think I was like Jose Luis Fernandez, and he met a lovely lady whose name was Juliet, and they had like 3 kids. They had Miguel, they had Paco, and they had, what did I call her? Angel or something. I know that wasn't right. I don't remember. Anyways, I came up with all these names. So I almost started creating like a family tree for them. And so afterwards, and they kind of were all into it because it was a story that I was just making up and the kids thought it was hilarious. But afterwards, we started talking about the characteristics of these family members and how, you know, Paco decided not to have any kids, so he was like all by himself in this family, but he still belonged to the rest of the family. So all of them kind of belonged together underneath this family tree of the Fernandez. They're all Fernandezes. They just have, maybe some of them have different last names because they're girls and they married somebody else, so they have a different last name. And it was just this really cool, like, family tree. And I'm going to show you a picture, probably right here, of my family tree that I made. It was not pretty, y'all. It was like on the dry erase board. Like, it was not cute, but it worked, and the kids freaking loved it. And then we started talking about kind of some of the requirements that I wanted them to be able to do. So one, they had to be able to come up with the overarching name of the family. They then had to be able to categorize the family, and then on note cards they had to explain their reasonings for wanting to categorize that family, and so why were they grouping it into those different sections and categories. So the kids started going at it. I told them they could use their iPads, they could use anything that they wanted to use, but they had to be able to explain their thinking. So let me show you guys some of these kiddos work. Okay, so here's one. You can start to kind of see they have like the triangles. The kids are started naming these the guns. I think it's like very Godfather or something. Anyway, and then they had the quadrilaterals, but they weren't seeing the relationship with the quadrilaterals, and I wanted them to truly challenge them to be like, okay, I understand that you know that this is a triangle, that this is a quadrilateral, but I want you to be able to identify very specific characteristics. They were still thinking very like 2nd, 3rd grade, where they were like, well, oh, it has 4 sides, so it's a quadrilateral. Yes, but what else? You're in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. You need to know what else is out there about these quadrilaterals, because there's other information that also kind of separates it and categorizes it. And the way that I started explaining this, I was like, I want you to think of it almost like a blended family. You know, maybe like Paco decides to marry somebody, but they marry somebody and they have like 3 kids. So her 3 kids come in, and you know, he becomes a stepdaddy, and now he has, you know, 3 stepkids. They don't look exactly the same, but they're still part of the family. So we started talking about that as blended families, and the kids did such a great job with it. I was true, like, they did not want me to tell them what it was. I'm like, guys, do y'all want me to like go through the lesson now? They're like, no, please give us more time. And because of the amazing teacher that I am, of course I give them more time. So you'll kind of see here, again, this one didn't get to quite finish, but they had like their shapes and they started kind of identifying it. I just thought it was really great, the conversations that the kids were having. And as a teacher, I think these are the most crucial times where instead of just kind of sitting back and allowing them to work and me kind of doing other things on the side, it's important that you're walking around and you're kind of like looking in on what they're talking about, listening to what is it that they're saying, and really asking some of those guiding questions, and questions that are going to make them think a little bit more critically. So it's not that, like, I truly wanted them to try to be able to figure it out on their own, and the kids felt like it was a challenge almost, and they really enjoyed it. But I think it was such a powerful way for me to be able to describe that. So once we were done with that, we had a paper, and I don't have any papers, sorry, I'm really sorry, but I will. It was absolutely free on Teachers Pay Teachers, and while I am not the most like favorite person about Teachers Pay Teachers. I do think that there are resources out there that I feel like are extremely well done by educators. So I found this one when I was looking up just like notes, like how do I want to have my kids organize their notes, but I did find one where it truly did look at the 2D shapes, the hierarchy of 2D shapes, and it did a very beautiful job of like organizing the information and kind of separating it the exact way that I wanted to instruct it. So I will leave the link down at the bottom so that you guys can go and use it, because I think it is a fantastic resource. So after we were able to take notes on those TD shapes, the kids were like, oh my gosh, that is amazing, that's mind-blowing. They all kind of figured it out. And I had them really go back and I created just a really quick misconceptions and new learning sheet, because I wanted them to understand what were some of my misconceptions. Why did I really believe this in the first place? And now here is what I'm truly understanding from this content and this lesson that you've taught for me. So not only did they take notes, but they were able to really reflect on the lesson that they had. Whew. Okay, so that was all last week. Today, we are down a teacher. So KT and I got together last night and we were like, all right, what are we gonna do? Let's plan it out. We might not have a sub because there are no subs happening towards the very end of the year. We're very scarce on subs, like it's crazy. So KT and I got together and we were like, what are we doing? How are we gonna plan this out? And so we said that let's just have it as a project day. We're gonna have morning normal for math. We have an intruder drill this morning, so we're gonna have our intruder drill. We're gonna have a normal morning math time, and then in the afternoon we're going to do all of the wild robot stuff. So the kids today are going to be presented with a rubric. And when I have my rubric, I will show it to you, but it's not done. I did not get the chance to do that last night because I was so busy with my discussion boards and stuff, so it just did not happen. But I am going to finish up a rubric. I'm going to present them the rubric, and I'm going to tell them that they're going to be able to create, using the shapes that we have learned about, the polygons that we've learned about, the wild robot. They're going to create their own RAWs. Now here are some of my criteria, because not only are they creating their wild robot, but I would like for them to use a coordinate plane. Is that right? Quadrant. They're going to use quadrant 1. Now, to make it a little bit more challenging and to make it more relevant for my 6th graders, theirs is going to be on a 4 quadrant, and so theirs has to be symmetrical based off of that 4th quadrant. They both have to be symmetrical, but I want 6th grade to be able to have the robot throughout all 4 quadrants, whereas 4th and 5th will only do it in the 1 quadrant. So they're going to create their robot, not really like looking for plots and having to plot every single one of them out, because that's just tedious work and nobody wants to do that. But they're going to create their robot symmetrically. They're going to do a rough draft, and then they're going to have a final draft. They have to incorporate so many shapes, which is going to be on their rubric. And then they are also going to have to identify types of lines. So intersecting lines, perpendicular lines, a right angle, obtuse angle, acute angle. And they are going to give me the coordinates for those lines and those angles on a separate sheet. So they have to be able to identify them and also give me the coordinates for them. So I'm getting in coordinate, I'm getting in graphing, I'm getting in symmetry, I'm getting in shapes, I'm getting in lines. I'm doing lots and lots of integrating into this lesson. So the kids are gonna have to do that piece of it. And then they're also going to create a biography about their robot. So we're going to tie in some writing into this as well. So today, the kids are going to have the opportunity to begin working on their robot. And then we're going to give them some time to finish up their biome illustrations that they started working on yesterday. So that's kind of the game plan. I think it's a really good game plan. 4th grade has junior achievement at 12 o'clock. So we'll let the other kiddos kind of work on maybe some of their biomes and some other pieces of that they just kind of need to finish up. But all good and fun. A lot is going on. I am very excited for this project, and I think the kids are going to be excited. They don't really see the connections that their robot is going to go with their biome, and that soon when they learn about the adaptations, that they're going to have to give adaptations to their robot that will help them in surviving in their biome. So they don't see the connections yet right now, which is kind of fun. Actually, with my lesson, they didn't see the connection that we were going to be doing a robot. So this is going to be interesting today. Well, let's see how they react. All right, it is, what time? It's a little after 7:30. It's like 7:37. 7:37, yeah. It's about 7:37. I have a meeting to go to at 8 o'clock this morning, and I need to get my rubric done, and I also need to finish looking over my CPM lesson for today. So I am going to let you guys go, and I'm going to put on my podcast, and not my personal podcast, but podcast that I'm listening to. Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to all of you. We have finally just kind of decided, and I think this was last night in one of the texts, like we have like a group text that we all text each other to, and I know you guys have that too. But we just finally decided, you know what? We are not gonna have a normal day for the rest of the year. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Between 4th and 5th grade, who are gonna have junior achievement that they have to do, we have a chorus concert. A chorus concert for our team, who's gonna go and watch that today. There's just no way that we have time for normalcy. It's just not gonna happen. So I'm walking around and I just have to kind of point this out because I can't believe he left it there. There was somebody who, I told you guys about my little guy who is our junior chief meteorologist, because he is so passionate about the weather, and I truly believe that this boy is going to end up being a weatherman. And he is so passionate about the weather. Every day he makes us a video, shows us like what our forecast for today is gonna be, and he changes for the week. It's just adorable. Well, somebody left him a little note. It says, "Keep up the weather, junior chief meteorologist. P.S. I think that's how it's spelled." I freaking love it so much. These kids are cute. Anyways, so I completely forgot that I totally left a hot mess yesterday. I didn't remember that I had such a huge mess, but I've been going through and I've been organizing some papers, so that's really why I left it that way, because I need to put them up where they need to go. You know how like you're randomly maybe I'm the only one, I randomly put papers in certain places thinking that I'm gonna go back and like put them back where they are supposed to go, and it's typically when I'm really busy. Like if I'm incredibly busy, I just don't think about putting things back where they go. And I have a ton. So now I'm like going through, looking at my classroom, trying to like clean things out so that the end of the year, like when we have our last week of school, it's not like crazy for me to have to try to put everything up, because we have to take things out of our shelves, we have to take down our curtains, our lights. I have to take down my letters. I don't know about my flowers. I don't know if I have to take those down or not. But everything has to come down in order for them to clean our rooms. So I've been trying to go through and get all my stuff kind of cleaned up. So here's kind of the mess that I have. It's really not that big of a deal, but I did have, like, all of these are now sorted out, and these just need to go inside of the appropriate binders. These are like student work that I have to grade, and then I have like a few kids who just leave their junk everywhere because they think that I'm like their mom. I have a few other things that I just don't know what to do with. That little bucket needs to go home because it's filled with kindergarten stuff, which I don't know why that's here. So I need to take that home and just be done with it. But other than that, like, these were from yesterday, which, by the way, let me show you these. They're so cute, y'all. Is this the right way? Yeah, this is it. So they started working on their rough drafts for their robots, and I want to show you the actual, let me show this to you. This is the rubric that they had to do. This is the robot mass. So one is for neatness, and then we start going into 2D shapes. So we said the robot contains 4 or more 2D shapes with 5 or more sides. So like a hexagon, an octagon, a decagon, those kind of shapes. Robot contains 4 or more quadrilaterals with 4 families represented. That needs to be 3 families. I don't know why I wrote 4. It's just 3. Because one of them has no parallel lines, the other one has 1 set of parallel lines, the other one has 2 sets of parallel lines. So I'm not sure why I wrote 4. I have to go back and I told the kids to change it to 3. Then it has robot contains 8 or more three-sided figures from both families. So they need to be able to identify whether it's a scaling, an acute scaling, and obtuse. Like, they have to have those identified within their robot. Then in their lines and angles, they have to have one set of parallel lines, perpendicular, intersecting, acute, obtuse, and right. Now, I know a lot of the shapes that they're using are going to have these, but here's where it's going to end up getting tricky for them, because later they're going to have to use coordinates to be able to identify the parallel line. So it's going to say parallel line A or whatever, and it's going to have the coordinate for it. Parallel line B is going to have the coordinate. So they'll have to be able to represent that figure with coordinates. Then we have the robot is drawn with perfect symmetry, which I think is really hard for a lot of babies. So then afterwards we have like the plotting coordinates, which 4th grade is going to use quadrant 1 and 6th grade is going to use all 4 quadrants, and they have to identify the quadrants, the coordinates correctly. And this is the coordinates that they're going to have to identify. They'll have a separate sheet for that. And then here is the biography piece, so the publishing, conventions and grammar, content, and then the organization of it is all. So this is kind of their rubric on how I will end up kind of grading them, I guess, is the way you want to say it. Anyway, so here's their little robots that they started making yesterday. So you can kind of see some of the shapes there. Isn't he cute? There's this little head up there. You guys see that? Look at their little robots. Aren't they adorable? Oh my gosh, this one looks like a little bird. It's so stinking cute. Look at it. It's adorable. This one has a lot of detail in it. I loved this one too. So you can see, for the most part, they do a fairly good job trying to, there are the eyes. Do you see the eyes? Of trying to keep it with symmetry. I told some of them they're going to have to go back and really use rulers. Like, see, this one is a little off on symmetry, but that's okay. We're going to work on it today. Same here. So super cute. Little things here and there that they need to go back and fix, but I think that's kind of us being able to sit down and really talk. Look, this one almost looks like a Minecraft doll. That's kind of the whole point of us just being able to sit down with them and kind of showing them. Anyways, so that's what we have. I think it's super cute. There was one, oh my gosh, this little sweet girl. Isn't that adorable? I think it is so cute. So there's her little shape. I think it's adorable. So there are their robots, and that's really about it, I think. My principal sent out an email last night saying that we can use the next 4 days in our cycle in order to be able to grade DRAs and do our writing assessments. So that means that I don't actually have to go to any collabs for the next 4 days, which is really, really nice. So I'm going to take today. I think today is a day 1, which would normally be like an ELA day. So I'm going to take the date today to be able to get together all of my materials for our comprehension piece for the DRAs, if that makes sense. So we're doing the DRA comprehensions today since our track meet got canceled. It's been poo-poo rainy for the last, I think it's been 2 weeks. It's been awful. Feels like 2 weeks. I think it's been like a week and a half. But it's been really nasty outside. So our track meet got canceled today, and it's moved to next Friday, which actually looks like it's gonna have nice weather. So we decided that we were going to do our DRA comprehensions today instead of next week, which will be nice because then next week we can do our writing assessments, and then we're officially done and we can get those scored and put into our systems, and praise, we are all finished. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time this morning trying to get my areas cleaned up, my area cleaned up and tidy, because it is rather messy. It is rather messy. All right, I'm gonna stop talking now and I'm gonna start cleaning.